Okay. Call to order the January 18th, 2017 special bill paying meeting of the Township of Lopatcong Township Council. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975. By advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times, and by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Moment of prayer. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Beth.
Councilman Del Caro, Councilman Plato,
Here.
Councilman Wright,
Here.
Council President Fryer,
Here.
Mayor McKay.
Here. Okay, there's only one item of business, the payment of bills. You have before you a list of bills. I believe it aggregates $183,590.98, excluding a large item, which would be the payment. Where's that large item? We're having this in a different form than we usually get it. The large item would be the Lopatcong Township Board of Education payment, and that would be $1,073,437.92. There are some other scattered ones throughout here. I'm not sure if they're in that total. Do you know if they are, Beth?
No,
I don't either.
but their tax title means,
Yeah, lien redemptions. I don't think they are, so we have tax liens that we're redeeming that are, one's $19,580.65, another's $444.07, and we have an interest on a band rollover, which is bank anticipation note of, bond anticipation note, rather, of $3,986.02. I think that's all on that page. Then we have some items that touch the trust funds. A premium of $3,100 and a premium of $500 with respect to, it looks like borrowings. And that money was taken from the trust account of Provident Bank. That was in total $3,600. I think that covers it all. Does anyone else see anything else?
I'd just like to mention two things. One, Beth, I'm going to be recusing myself on the Johnson, Merriman, Thompson bill. I think that probably goes back to December. Until recently, I had kind of a loose relationship with them. That's terminated going forward. I won't have to recuse myself anymore going forward. The second thing, I just want to verify that there's no bills from Mr. Caldwell on here. I'd like to have that verification, every bill list going forward. I didn't see any.
You said you didn't see any, Joe?
No, I didn't. It's my intention, in accordance with past actions by council, those bills not make it to the bill list.
Any other statements, observations on the bill list?
Still going through it right now.
Yeah, I just got it too, but little bit ago. Okay, Beth, take the roll call for the payment of bills. Oh, we need a motion. Who wants to make that motion for the payment of bills?
I'll make a motion for the payment of bills.
Do I have a second?
Second it.
Okay, Beth, roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilman Toledo.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes, with recusal on the JMT bill.
I said it. Chairman Kent.
Yes. Audience participation. Take a motion, open the floor to audience participation.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's open for audience participation. Small audience tonight. Okay. No participation noted. Motion to close audience participation.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Should we not adjourn? Oh, Paul has a statement? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm here primarily to talk about contractual issues pertaining to the work that was done by the contractor that we selected to remediate the sinkhole on Wordsworth Lane in the last week of December. And I believe that's something we should talk about in executive session. There's also some other ancillary issues that I think that relate to that should also be in executive session. But before we do that, I just wanted to, since I'm here already, just give you a few updates on engineering issues that's permissible. This will take less than 5 minutes. Just to let you know, the Baltimore Street grant application went into the DOT today. That is in. So we're all done on that. I just want to let you know there's a pre-construction meeting for the second phase of the coordinated health project on Red School Lane on February 3rd. I know there's a couple odds and ends administratively that have to take place, but we're going to have the pre-construction meeting. Hopefully they address them and can release that project into construction after that meeting.
That's
It's
here.
going to be a good project for the township.
That's here, right?
That meeting will be here in the municipal building,
Do you have a time yet?
11 o'clock.
11. Okay.
Just related to that, I did pass information on to Mr. Madden, our sewer engineer, and Dan and I unfortunately missed each other by phone today, but he has the information to advise on the sewer allocation issue. Hopefully he can do so at the February 1st meeting for you. Sycamore Landing, I know this is a project that's been going on for a long time. I just wanted to let you know, if you're not aware of this, is that we're getting very close to issue COs. I know there's one administrative function that has to take place, and Katrina, I hope to see that it takes place on February 1st. It has to do with a legal agreement having to do with low and moderate income housing on that site. But assuming that takes place and they finish a few other things having to do with the construction, I believe we're going to see some certificates of occupancy issued in that development in the month of February of 2017, which would be good to start seeing some of the units occupied over there. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Well, when's that project expected to be completed? Is it this year?
I don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's more likely the end of 2018. They have not pulled all the building permits that they can in that particular project. I think they've pulled building permits in 4 buildings, which relate to 90 units. There's 247 units in development.
How many buildings? At least 4 or more.
There's 11 buildings in there
11 buildings
that
altogether.
are occupiable for residents. There's also a community building, a clubhouse building, and that's where the pool is going to be located, that's also close to completion at this point. So I think at least 2018, and this project is going to be somewhat market driven. You know, if people aren't knocking down the doors to rent in this particular community, then it may go on longer.
So right now, we're almost halfway done with the project.
From
Not
a,
quite half.
yeah, from a site improvement perspective, I would say we're more than 50% of there. We could even be up to 70%. Because they have all, you know, for the most part, the road system in place, all the drainage in place, all the sanitary sewer, the pumping station is going to be tested, put into operation next week. They finally got the force main done on Lock Street, which was something that took a long time to address. So I would say probably to 70% on the site work, but from a building perspective, you're 90 divided by 247. So,
Not quite halfway.
yeah. Yeah, and again, I think it's going to be somewhat market driven here. We'll see, if there's people interested in renting there and living in that community. If they're successful and they get a lot of renters in that community, then maybe they push on and continue building other building pads and buildings in the site. That's what we hope.
I had a conference call with the attorney and project manager yesterday regarding the affordable housing, which is going to be the next building permit that they pull. Is one of the 2 affordable housing buildings, so they're going to start building that soon too. They have some questions about who was our contact at HMFA, which is who administers and advertises and pulls the list. So when you need to rent to affordable housing, they have a list of who's next in line. So they are getting ready to start doing all that stuff. So they're asking questions.
Yeah, 50 of the 247 units are low and moderate income units.
I also, I go by captive plastics there, and it looks like they're starting to wind down.
We're getting close.
We're getting close. So,
One
the
interesting
next couple of months, I would imagine.
One interesting thing on that project, maybe just shifting gears, is we had given them approval to connect into the sewer, and they did obtain DOT and DEP approvals to run build a pump station and run a force main northward beneath the railroad, beneath Route 57, all the way to the Baltimore Street Strikers Road intersection. When they priced out that work, it's about $500,000 to do that work. So they were somewhat astonished by the price, so they actually took a step back, and they're actually seeking approvals to build a septic system, and they're getting DEP approvals to do that right now. I don't think they've gotten there yet. So if they don't get the approvals, they can always fall back and build the sewer as it's been contemplated and approved by the board.
Right. So that if they get approved with the septic, it actually helps us.
I'm sorry, Paul, that's captive plastics?
Yes.
Yeah, Berry Plastics.
Yeah, Barry. What is it, Barry?
Berry Plastics, yeah. So that was an interesting twist. I didn't expect it to see that after all the effort that was put in,
Right.
both by the municipality and developer and our engineers to get all these approvals. But apparently the cost of that particular connection was very prohibitive in their minds. So that's why they started
Paul,
explaining.
that area has traditionally perked, reasonably well. And the railroad, the state crossing, everything, I knew it was going to be an expensive deal. I'm sure you did, so.
Yeah.
And how many gallons was allocated sewage?
My recollection, it was on the order of 18,000 gallons per day. So if they don't connect, then that's
Yes.
there for someone else to utilize in the future.
Right.
The TWA approvals are good for 2 years. The state allows them to be extended up to another 3 years. They would expire 5 years after the date of issuance by the state. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you
Septic that
apprised.
costs less than half to put it in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, use,
Yeah, there'll be a cost, there'll be some ongoing costs because this is a septic system that couldn't be reviewed and approved locally by the Warren County Health Department, had to go to the state. So the state's going to implement some monitoring and some compliance work on a regular basis. But I guess the cost of that, it's going to be taking place on an incremental basis moving forward was probably a lot more palatable to them than spending $500,000 for a sewer connection now.
Definitely worth, investigating. Okay,
So,
thank you.
continuing on, Councilman Pryor had put out an email yesterday regarding the RCE grant program. I just wanted to let you know that I'm in complete agreement with everything they said in that email to the council. And I do believe that we should look to maybe take advantage of that program, at least with respect to the municipal properties, having some rain gardens put on the municipal properties, and if the fire department's amenable, maybe on the fire department property. There's some cisterns that are at stake there, and they really should have some input as to whether or not they want to partake in the program with those type of structures. But
Yeah, my observation there, Paul, was, they use most of their water washing down things, and the cisterns by themselves aren't going to do that.
right,
So we'd either have to add something, and I don't know if they'd want to go through the maintenance and everything just to sprinkle some water on the ground. So.
I think certainly at the pool site, it's something that would enhance the aesthetics of the pool site, and we've obviously been trying to find ways to cut down on the amount of runoff leaving that site, which eventually goes towards North Prospect Street, where the new development is, where we've had a lot of erosion issues in the stream corridor there. So I think that will help to cut down on some of the runoff, for that site. And certainly, I think one of the sites chosen was this site, the municipal building. So I think that could be positive here from an aesthetics perspective. So anyway, so that's my opinion. It's something that I think Beth should put on the agenda for February 1st to talk about and maybe take action on it. It sounded like there was a finite amount of time to take action on the program.
This is the Rutgers one
The Rutgers one.
Yeah.
that Juniper brought to our attention, Juniper Lifer.
I believe so, yes.
She didn't really bring it forward. He did this. He was given charge to do this. He looked at 5 towns. He did a study on his own, and he was going to bring those to council shortly. So
I read the email that you had like 17 locations in Lopat.
13.
13.
Yeah, again, some of them are private property, and I agree with Councilman Pryor. I don't know. I don't think we should be involved with that, entering into an agreement to arrange for work on private property. I think it's just going to be a headache for us, and we're going to expend resources for no reason.
So stick with public property.
Yeah, at least the 3, the pool, the municipal building,
The
and
2 firehouses.
this is the one here.
It was rain gardens on Strikers.
And the firehouse near Strikers Road, yeah.
I think
Some rain
also,
gardens.
he also said Delaware Park Firehouse.
While they were talking at Delaware, they were talking cisterns.
Cisterns, yeah.
So, okay.
But the 3 rain gardens are a no-brainer. I think that's
They're
can be helpful.
They make good demonstration projects, I think, Paul. They would pick up the bulk of the cost. They'd be looking for a backhoe for probably a day at each site. And they could provide all the labor, the materials, the expertise. It's really no downside in doing that.
When the systems gets filled, right, say if the water's not being used and it gets filled, what happens to the overflow?
They have overflows and diverters. The idea is, I think the one was 1,000 gallons, so you capture rainwater, and instead of getting it out of the hose bed, you could get up to 1,000 gallons out of the cistern. The problem is it's only a few feet high. Maybe you get 2 psi at the bottom. You can't do a lot with it. So if you wanted to hose down equipment, you'd need some sort of pumping or whatever. So it has somewhat restricted benefit to the fire departments. And then you have to winterize it. There's some maintenance, inspection, removal of sediment. So they may or may not be interested in maintaining this.
I saw a, same concept, but not the cistern. It's a holding tank on the side of the building.
Well, this is what they call a cistern. It's essentially the same thing. These things are above ground.
Above ground, 1,000-gallon tank.
It's a tank, and they come in
But
different
there's enough pressure
sizes.
down, but, it fills up, because it's coming from above. So there is pressure there. I don't know what the pressure is.
Oh, I can tell you what the pressure is. They have an overflow, so it's basically the height of the tank. So every 2.31 feet gives you PSI.
Right.
So, I don't know, maybe it's 2.5 PSI when we're done.
It's not much.
Right?
Yeah. It's not much.
Unless you pump it.
Well, you can put a pump on it.
Yeah. It's one more thing, that's all.
So,
That's not a bad idea, put a pump on it. No, you could do things.
I have worked with these guys before. I collaborated on 3 projects with them before I retired. They were parks, 2 of them involved rain gardens. And since that time, my former firm's been working with them continuously. They've done about 30 projects together, and I've learned it's not just rain gardens. They've run the whole gamut. They've had pervious pavement, pervious sidewalks, cisterns, rain gardens, the whole gamut.
See, the cistern I was talking about, I thought what you meant.
You're talking about the ones underground?
Underground,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, these are
Yeah.
prefabricated.
Yeah, I had a cut through one.
Yeah.
And it's just that concrete.
I don't know if it's proper to do it tonight, or if you want to think about it till next month. He was talking, what I say in the memo, 6 to 8 weeks. He hoped to firm it up and select 3 projects from among the 5 towns. I think ours would be good because it's, the cost is low, it's visible, it's very implementable. I think we'd be in a good position.
yeah, my recommendation is the 3 rain garden projects.
Okay.
The first priority, I think, would be the pool, because we could really use, I think it would look good in the park setting. I think we could use something there to try to cut down on the runoff leaving that site. I think the second would be here, it's my opinion, and third would be the firehouse. So,
Yeah, my thought, Paul, was to group them all as one project. It comes to perhaps 10 grand, and I think that's very doable for them.
so that'd be my recommendation, is to have that on the agenda for the first to approve that. So, last item before we go to executive session, I just wanted to advise the council. Last year, you had actually it was a planning board meeting. I missed it in late February. I was on a ski trip, and I actually have a ski trip planned where I was going to miss the March 1st council meeting. It turned out that a conflict developed for me for February 1st. So I'm going to miss your next 2 regular meetings. I wanted to know, do you want me to send a representative from my firm to be at those meetings, or so I could do that, which I've done in the past. I know this is a rarity when I miss a public meeting in this town, but I've sent people so I can do that, or I can just work with Beth and make sure that anything that I need addressed at those meetings gets addressed. And if an engineering issue came up at the meeting, she would just let me know the next day, and I'd go and get it done. So I just want to I want to advise you of that and ask.
I think the latter would probably suffice.
Okay.
Yeah, my feeling is if you would coordinate with Beth and then send whoever your right-hand man is, there's always questions.
Okay.
Get it done that way.
Okay. So you want somebody here? Okay.
That would be, I don't know how the rest of the council feels. That's my
I have no problem with that.
suggestion.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
Again,
always questions on the engineers.
right.
Okay.
Like tonight I had one more. You don't want?
Sure.
Yeah, did you hear any more from the county on our speed zone?
Nothing.
Nothing?
I know they're working on it, but I haven't seen a plan roll out at this point, so I got to follow up with them. It's been taking some time. So that's what I have under my regular report, and then the rest will be in the executive session. So,
Okay, thank you, Paul.
thanks.
Next item would be to go into executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Sorry. Go ahead. Before you
Motion.
vote off.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Well, we expect to take action.
I don't expect action. It's more of an informative,
Need to let the public know.
informational type presentation,
You think?
10 minutes.
Okay,
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right, folks, this is executive session. So
so.